Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving right into what might be the tech battle of the year, GPT-5 versus Claude Opus 4.1. We've got two brand new, super powerful AI coding assistants going head-to-head, and we're here to break down who really comes out on top for developers.
So, this is the big question on basically every developer's mind right now. Which of these models is the right tool for the job? In this explainer, we're going to give you the data, the expert opinions, and some real side-by-side comparisons to help you figure it out.
So, in one corner, we've got the newcomer, GPT-5, storming into the ring with a price point that is absolutely everyone talking. And in the other corner, you have the defending champion, Claude Opus 4.1, which has built this killer reputation for producing truly top-tier, production-ready code.
Okay, let's kick things off with round one. And we're starting with the most objective factor of them all, the cost. How much are these powerful tools actually going to set you back? Let's just start with a number that's pretty staggering. When it comes to input tokens, that's the data you're feeding the model, GPT-5 is an incredible 12 times cheaper than its rival, Claude Opus 4.1. 12 times. And look, this isn't just some small tweak. It's a complete revolution in pricing. As developer McKay Wrigley points out, the API price is so good that it's getting universal praise. This isn't just a feature, it's a statement.
But why is a cheaper API so important? I mean, it's not just about saving a few bucks. It fundamentally changes how developers can work with AI, especially with this experimental approach that some people are calling vibe coding.
So here's how that vibe coding advantage really plays out. A dramatically lower cost means you can send hundreds, maybe thousands more prompts for the same budget. That gives you the freedom to experiment, to try out those half-baked ideas, and to fail without worrying about a giant bill. It's a total game changer for learning and iterating.
So, for its radical affordability, which just unlocks a whole new level of experimentation for developers, the winner of the pricing round is, without a doubt, GPT-5.
All right, on to round two, the code. Price is one thing, but what about the core product? We're talking about the quality, the sophistication, and just how useful the code is that each of these models actually spits out.
On one side of the argument, you've got experts like McKay Wrigley who were pretty firm in their belief that Claude's lead here is not just a little bit ahead, it's significant. In his view, when you're talking about pure coding skill, Opus is still the undisputed king.
But then, on the other hand, you have influential developers like Theo, who got early access to GPT-5 and were just completely blown away. He says the model is so good, so smart, that the price almost becomes irrelevant. That's a huge testament to its raw capability.
So, let's look at a direct comparison. When they were asked to create a simple landing page, GPT-5 produced something functional but pretty basic. Opus, however, delivered something that just feels more professional. With better structure and design, it's much closer to what you'd actually want to ship to users. And this pattern held up when they were asked to build a simple game. GPT-5 gave back a static image that would need a lot more work to become interactive. But from the exact same prompt, Opus delivered a more complete, playable version right out of the box, even throwing in some customization options.
And for our final visual test, a small web app. And again, GPT-5's output is functional. Yeah, it works. But the Opus version just looks better. It demonstrates a much stronger grasp of UI design principles, with better color choices and contrast, making for a way better user experience. So, based on these side-by-side tests and what the experts are generally saying, Opus 4.1 takes the win for code quality. Its ability to generate more polished, professional, and production-ready code in a single prompt really is its killer feature.
Okay, for our final round, let's pop the hood and get a little technical. We're looking at the raw specifications and the performance benchmarks that really define what these models are capable of.
Looking at the specs, you can see how GPT-5 just dominates on paper. It wins on most benchmarks, like the really important SWE bench test, and it has a larger context window. But, and this is a big but, Opus has a major real-world advantage with 4 times faster latency, and its smaller context window is known for being incredibly reliable.
It's really important to distinguish between these two key terms.
Latency is that initial wait time before you see the first word pop up. Throughput is how fast the rest of the answer streams in after that. So this means GPT-5 has higher latency. It takes longer to think, but once it starts going, its speed is pretty comparable to Opus.
So despite its slower start time, GPT-5's superior performance across a huge range of really difficult technical benchmarks, especially when it comes to complex reasoning, gives it the win for this round. On paper, it is just flat out a more powerful model.
All right, we've seen the rounds, we've seen the winners. GPT-5 took price and specs, while Opus took code quality. So what does this all mean? Let's bring it all together into a final verdict that helps you choose the right tool for you. You know, one of the most important differences here is something you can't see on a spec sheet. It's their personality. Seriously, GPT-5 acts like a helpful teacher. It's really verbose and it explains its thought process, which is fantastic for learners. Opus, on the other hand, is like a senior developer. It's direct, concise, and it kind of assumes you already know what you're doing.
So, if you are what's being called a vibe coder, or if you're a learner, a non-technical founder, or really anyone who values experimentation and iteration, GPT-5 is the clear choice. Its low cost gives you the freedom to make mistakes and learn without totally breaking the bank.
However, if you're a professional developer who knows exactly what you need and your #1 priority is getting the highest quality, most production-ready code on the very first try, then yeah, Claude Opus 4.1 is absolutely worth the premium price. And this brings us to a really fascinating new frontier for AI tools. The choice is no longer just about which model is smarter. It's about which development philosophy you subscribe to. So do you want the benchmark-crushing genius? Or do you want the affordable partner that lets you learn and grow? The answer to that is what will define your next project.